Franklin D. Roosevelt once said, "Real estate cannot be lost or stolen, nor can it be carried away. Purchased with common sense, paid for in full, and managed with reasonable care, it's about the safest investment in the world." And real estate is what we do. This is the Realtors Radio Network. There's no sense in overcomplicating real estate. And if you're a first-time home buyer, an investor, or a real estate agent, you're about to get useful, practical, and smart advice on every facet of real estate. Welcome to the Realtors Radio Network. Now your hosts, Santos Garcia, Marcos Suarez, and Dawn McCullough.
Welcome to Realtors Radio Network. Today we have a very special guest. We've been trying to get Grace on the show for a very long time. Before we start, we'll introduce. I don't want to call you guys the usual suspects, but it's always us. So our first and most important host. I was going to say you, Santos.
Dawn.
Everybody wants to point.
You said the most important.
Well, it was your idea.
I'm glad you guys got this right.
Santos
They're
Garcia,
both important.
Dawn McCullough, and today we have Grace Iosco.
Hi.
Grace, we've been trying to have this conversation with you for a long time. We've known you for a really long time.
Really?
I've actually known Grace my entire real estate career.
Yeah.
So 2 decades.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because you were really...
We have worked at like every company together.
You were so young.
Yeah.
I remember you and your brother walking in
Yes.
to that company.
That shall remain nameless.
Yes.
Grace, so tell us, what did you do before real estate? Just so we can start there and we'll go forward from there.
Before real estate, I owned 2 stores. They were gift baskets and gift stores. I loved them. They were so pretty, but I was so bored. I was always stuck in one of them because I didn't trust anybody to stay there alone.
Right.
And I probably had the stores about 5 years. Before that, I worked for a dentist for 10 years.
Yikes.
If I ever had to do it again, I don't even know how I did it. Because the thought of going into somebody's mouth now. It's, we're going into houses. But
right.
Let's not go into mouths.
I'm totally with you on that. I really don't know how they do what they do. But we're thankful
It's a
for
tough
them.
job.
I don't know how I did it. And sometimes I had to work because everybody would always take off. I would have to sometimes work 3 rooms.
Oh, wow.
Running back and forth.
Oh, it's funny. I don't even think about that, about how, it's a little bit extensive then. If you're not just handling one person, you have to run around to different, I didn't even think about that.
Well, that's why I think real estate never bothered me, running around here or there, up and down.
You were used to it.
You were used to it, yeah.
Yeah. So
What was the protocol back then in the dentistry world? Were you covered up? Were you masked?
You were masked and gloves. You were masked and gloves at all times. But the worst was if somebody came in and they had hepatitis.
Oh, my goodness.
Or they had...
Never thought about that.
Yeah.
You have to spray the whole room down with this brown stuff. It's different now.
Great. Now I'm going to go to the dentist and ask if anybody's sitting there before me.
They won't let you in there. We had to leave it closed for like 3 hours.
Okay.
Then you had to clean it down again.
Wow.
And all the instruments were autoclaved, just like they really are now. But you really want to be careful because I don't trust a lot of places.
Yeah.
I had my own instruments.
Wow.
I brought them home with me.
Yeah.
And I would only use them.
Yeah, because what if they forgot to clean that one thing that they're using on you?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to not think about that next time I'm at the dentist.
That could be a business idea, selling you your own personal kit so you can take to the dentist now.
I brought my own, thank you. It's like BYO.
BYOT,
Right?
Bring your own tools.
And I really did because I was afraid, what if they didn't autoclave them properly? So I was afraid.
Yeah.
I remember once one of the burrs, which is a drill, got stuck in my hand. Do you know I had the nerve to call the guy's wife and ask him if he was like fooling around with anybody?
Because you didn't want to have anything, catch anything.
AIDS was going around there.
Sure. That's
She
funny.
never spoke to me again.
That is hilarious.
Oh my God.
His name was Eddie. I still remember it. I don't remember
That's
her
great.
name.
We got a pre real estate crazy story.
Yes.
That's a first.
That's the first.
It just continues.
Oh, that's funny.
Anything else? Any other careers?
Um.
Were you a hairdresser?
Oh my God. Yes.
I was wondering. I'm like, did I make that up in my head? I swear that you
No,
told me that.
That was my favorite job of all time, except for real estate.
Is it because you got all the scoop? Because I hear that,
You're
barbers and hairdressers get all the gossip.
All the tea.
You're
They
like
spill all
a
the tea.
psychologist. I think they come just to talk to you, and they tell you things that you don't even know what to say back to them.
Sure.
It happens in real estate too.
I was about to say that.
Sure.
If you get really close with somebody like I am right now, we talk every day, 5 times a day. She just got a dog yesterday. Hi, Kimberly.
Oh, that's great.
But only because this deal was taking forever. But hair was fun. It was a lot of work too. I was on my feet 24/7. I even worked Sundays, but I had a day off.
And at the time, wasn't it like Sunday, Monday? Pretty much everywhere
That's
was
why
closed.
we opened. It was my idea. I wanted to, get busier.
Sure.
Well, I made a lot of money doing hair.
Yeah, it's a lucrative business. It
Yes.
does well, for sure.
Yep. I actually, when the owner left, he was closing it down. I wanted to buy the building. Do you know, it was quite a while ago. It wouldn't happen today, but the guy wouldn't let me buy it because I was a woman and he didn't think I would pay it.
Wow.
Probably had more money than he did at that time. Yeah. I made a lot of money doing hair.
Good.
That's great.
Different times.
Yeah, for sure. No, but even
For back
today,
then,
there's a
yeah.
lot of money even today.
A lot of money because everything is, oh my goodness. The money people tell me they spend on their hair, I never go to a hairdresser ever.
I don't even have hair, and I spend a lot of money on this.
I
On your
cut
hair.
my own
Imagine
hair,
that.
color my own hair, cut it. I don't go to
Oh no, I'll pay. I am that lick. I want that
Yeah.
service. I want to
Yeah.
feel like I got taken care of. I'll pay.
Yeah, I'm like that with cars. I like service.
Sure.
Treat me the way I want to be treated if I'm going to pay all this money,
Right.
Sure.
right?
Very true. So you've been in real estate 20 years. I'm gonna jump around a little bit, but 20 years,
No.
you have to have a couple of crazy stories in real estate. Do you have any? I would say yes.
I have a lot of crazy stories, but one of the strangest ones were, it had to be 10 years ago, when the guy, my client, proposed in the lawyer's office. He got down on one knee. The attorney, I think, drank a little bit, so he didn't have champagne, but he had bourbon.
Oh my goodness.
And he brought out bourbon for everyone.
Huh.
So everybody, I didn't have any.
No, of
but
course
they
not.
were- I-
Not that you could admit to.
well, no, but I don't like the taste. They were drinking it at a little.
So did they say yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
They actually.
Because that could have gone. That could have been.
Yeah.
Did they sign the paperwork first?
No, wait. And, right. They signed the paperwork first, actually, yes. Then it was only in his name. Now they sold it. Well, I sold it. And do you know they moved to Colombia?
Oh.
Because her parents own like this whole big, beautiful property where it's very safe and they all work there. There's different fields.
Wow.
And he had a very good job here. He did not want to leave, but they had a baby. And he did not, or she did not, and he, I guess, agreed, did not want the kid on the computer and the phone.
Oh, so they're going to raise him away from it.
Yeah.
Now he said they go out, ride their bikes every day. It's 70 degrees. I'm like,
wow,
Ooh.
must be nice.
maybe I'll
Paradise.
I have to
move
look
there.
into this.
Yeah, right? He said it's beautiful there.
Yeah, I can imagine. Can only imagine.
No.
I've seen great pictures. I've never been to Colombia, but I've seen great pictures of very picturesque looking mountains and all this stuff. And
Yeah, it
Yeah.
looks beautiful. He sent me a few pictures. I've never been there either. But it looks really pretty. But then you hear, but you know, it's all over. You hear dangerous parts.
oh, sure, in the cities,
And
sure.
look, let's not talk about
Which is true
dangerous.
anywhere, right? You go to New York City
Sure.
and there's
Oh,
a good
yeah.
chance something's going to happen.
Or Newark.
Or Newark.
Could be anywhere.
Yeah, it could be anywhere. It could be Clifton. It could be.
Could be Clifton. Clifton is, yeah.
It's a big, good size town. Anything could happen. What would you say was something that you wish you knew before you got into real estate?
That you never have a minute to yourself ever again. Do you know what? When I started, I was in the computer room, and all of a sudden I can't remember her name. She was an older woman. And she looked at me and she said, "Honey, I wish you would leave now because you will your life will never be the same. You'll always be thinking real estate, sleeping real estate, working." And you know what? She's right.
Absolutely. Yeah,
That's true.
Once you're actually a realtor, once you're actually in this business, that's your life. That's who you are. A realtor is who you are. It's no longer just a profession, no longer just a career. It becomes part of you. You're. I know this happens to me all the time. I'm driving down the road somewhere, and I'm just driving down any particular neighborhood, and I look, and I go, "Yep, the kitchen's in the back, or the kitchen's on that side of the house, or the bathrooms are over there." I can see it all from just looking at the roof line. Like I can see everything. Because I know where the pipes. Well, I know what that pipe's for. I know what that's for. You're just a realtor is just ingrained into you at every point.
You know, it's funny. Once I went to the Dominican Republic for vacation, and I saw a couple of properties for sale. And just because of the realtor in me, I wanted to know the price. And
Of course.
I went in there, I rang the bell, and I was like, you know what? I have a couple of investors that are interested in buying this. So can you show me around
Right.
and can you tell me about this property?
Right.
I did a whole tour. They spent like 3 hours in me. But I didn't have nobody. It was just
Right.
I was just,
You're just
just wanted,
curious.
just wanted to see the market.
It's just the realtor in you,
I was
right?
like,
Yeah. That's it just definitely becomes a part of who you are. So I guess that realtor was right.
She really was right. And oh my goodness. She moved to Pennsylvania, got her license there. I think she came back now. She's got to be 100. I mean, she was really elderly, and she's still doing real estate.
Wowzers.
It just gets in your blood, I think.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's no retiring.
No.
You just pay those fees and keep
And
on
that's
going.
it. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Right?
Yeah, it's true. We're in it for life, right?
Yeah, I had to go to West Orange yesterday, and it was dark. We won't say why, because do you know not one Petco anywhere had the food my dog eats. They ran out. One place had it in West Orange. Matter of fact, I saw a few pictures of realtors that I would have rather not have seen. But I saw I got lost 100 times. I turned around
Wow.
with the GPS. And I saw some really cool houses
Oh, yeah.
I would have loved to have gone into.
Yeah. And that's another perk of the business, right? Every once in a while, you get to see how the other half lives, if you will, right? You get to see these amazing proproperties. You get to see.
Well, both halves, really.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Sometimes you see the worst half, and sometimes you see the better
Yeah,
half.
well, you say the other half because I don't know what half you're coming from. But
Well, we could go thirds, right? I might be in like the.
but yeah, we get to see some cool houses, and and crazy houses too. Houses that you'd never expect to see, the kind of things that that we as realtors get to see. I mean,
Panic rooms.
I've seen everything from panic rooms. I've seen
Locked rooms.
the crack house, in a certain town. You've seen the mansions with these great elevators inside the house. We get to see everything, so it's kind of cool in that regard.
I had one guy. Well, pot's legal now, but I had one house, and it was a 2-family house, and we were doing a walkthrough because they were closing. They were my buyers. They were closing the next day, and the tenants were going to stay downstairs, and they were going to live upstairs. So we knocked on the door. They wouldn't let us in. I pounded on the door like if I was a...
You did the cop knock?
I did the cop knock. He opened the door a tiny, tiny bit. And I said, listen, these are going to be your landlords. We need to get in here tonight, right now. He let us in. Well, one door locked. He wouldn't let us in that room. A whole giant dining room table filled with pot.
Wow.
It was dry, and it was about 200 degrees in the apartment because he was drying it out.
Whoa.
So
They could have done hot yoga and dried out the leaves at the same time.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm guessing he was growing it in the other room.
Man.
So you can talk about it now because it's legal.
We always like to ask, what advice would you give a brand new agent in the business with all these years of experience that you have now? Like, what advice would you give? Besides, don't get in the business.
Yeah.
I know you were headed there. I saw your brain working.
I know. I looked at Dawn, and I'm like, and only because I spoke to somebody that called on one of my listings, and she said, my daughter's thinking of she wants to get her real estate license. And I told her, it's great. Let her get it. Just tell her to wait a little while. It's tough now.
It's not easy.
You have to really want it, and you have to really just, I think, keep going no matter what.
Yeah.
Because once you stop, you're done.
Yeah.
You're just done. No matter if you're slow, you have to
Keep going.
keep looking and looking and going. And I think, for me anyway, I've always had a lull. Since I started, I've always had a lull somewhere.
Sure.
But then it just picks up again.
And you have to just learn how to manage yourself, right?
Yeah.
You know that those lulls are coming. You know that you had 1 or 2 or 3 closings. Put a little something away. You have to throw a little dirt in the valley, as they say.
I'm good at that.
So that
I am good at.
Yeah, it's good. If you can do that, if you know how to do that naturally, if you have to be taught it, that's fine too. But you should know that you have to throw a little dirt in the valley so you don't land so hard, so that the fall isn't so big.
I know someone, and you know them very well, and I'm not going to name any names. And it was in the first company we were at. They spent their money before it closed.
Oh, sure.
You can't do that.
No.
You never
That still
know.
happens today. Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of a sort of, a stumbling block in a lot of people's careers when you're self-employed or you own a business. You don't put away for the rainy day or for your favorite Uncle Sam or whoever else,
Your least favorite.
Or least favorite uncle.
Yeah, I remember when you first started. I was walking by a room and you were talking to an agent who was telling you, "Why, aren't you? You should get out of the business." You remember that guy?
I do.
You should get out of the business. Ken, God rest his soul.
God rest his soul.
God rest his soul. He's
Always pleasant.
Maybe I should thank him because when I got in the business, he probably made me feel the worst about getting into the real estate business. He was like, "When are you going to get a real job, kid? Hey, kid, when are you going to get a real job?"
Well, at the time, I think he might have been the oldest person in that office, and to him, everybody was a kid.
Him or what's his name?
Which one?
Oh, the one that was over at Anchor with.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. He's.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's still around.
He is.
He is? Okay. Yeah.
He's still around, but he's the one, like Ken said to you. He said to me, "You're never going to make it in this business."
Oh my goodness.
And
But
I
we might have to be thankful for those people because that might be the real
motivator?
driving
Yep.
force of
Yeah.
like, I'm going to make it in this business.
Yeah, well, I said, "Excuse me?" And he said, "You smile too much."
Whoa.
I said to him, because it got me angry,
Hmm.
I said, "You do it your way,
Yeah.
And I'll do it my way.
Yeah.
And my way turned out better
Yeah,
than
absolutely.
his way.
Absolutely. Look where they are, look where you are. So it's a much different
Yeah, but, everybody has to do their own thing. Whatever works.
absolutely.
Like
Yes.
what works for you may not work for me.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah,
vice versa.
I've seen agents who, work at 100 miles an hour and they're always frantically, and I'm like, I could never live at that pace. I mean, you're gonna wear yourself out. I was surprised that they had shoes still on. I thought they would burn right through the soles. You always see them zipping around. It's like, I'm pretty sure that we make about the same amount of money, but I'm not that frantic. It's like it's insane sometimes. But that's what worked for that person, and my style works for me, and your style works for you. You have to kind of figure that out, but you have to spend the first couple of years in the business knowing what that spot is, that sweet spot is for you.
Exactly, because like when I started, I'll be honest, I didn't have a clue to what I was doing. And my very first client, he was going to buy a house, and he finally told me, remember we used to take people in our cars?
Mm-hmm.
I do.
Right?
Used to.
Used to. He said, I just wanted to ride around in this car.
Oh my goodness.
He was a nice guy, but the timing.
Oh my goodness.
I love this car. I just wanted to ride around.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
And
Wow.
I went.
I love
Do
it.
you know?
Wow.
I just
Was he pre-approved?
You know what? I don't even know.
Right.
Thinking
Yeah,
back,
Nice.
back
I
then
would know.
it was the
Right.
Wild
I don't
Wild
know.
West. Yeah. It was the
I
Wild
don't
Wild
even
West.
remember.
Wow.
But I know I drove him around for quite
Oh, wow.
Let me guess. Did he want to see two properties, one in Atlantic City and one in Sussex?
No, luckily they weren't that far. You know what I could tell you one of the worst things I think ever were? When we started, we didn't have GPS.
That's right.
We had MapQuest.
Yeah.
Was it MapQuest?
It was
And,
MapQuest.
and you'd be very lucky if it worked that day. 'Cause sometimes it would send you on a
Now
wild
we
goose
have
chase.
5 houses to show. So we have them all in order, correct?
Mm.
And then they say,
They don't want to see one of them.
and I go, well, we'll drive.
Let's drive by
I
anyway.
have no idea how to get
How
to
to get
this
to
I
the next
won't
one.
be able to get to the fourth house. Yeah.
It was, that was so hard.
Yeah.
That actually happened to me.
Me too.
All in one sitting. I think we were seeing about 5 houses. I mapped my A to
Yep.
B, B to C, and the whole thing. And there was one house they decided they didn't want to see, and one that had a detour. And so I was really really in panic mode because I'm like, well, let's just drive by it anyway. You never know,
Right.
just in case. Then we drove by it. Now I didn't realize that there was a road closed, and trying to,
To navigate on
trying to
your own.
navigate detour signs and get
be
back to my
nervous.
MapQuest directions.
Yeah.
There's no rerouting when you have printed paper.
No.
Right.
It was
You
so
don't
hard.
know this pain, Santos.
No.
It was so hard, Santos. It was like you
sounds
just,
like a horror story.
well, you
Yeah, it
panicked
is.
and then you completely got lost.
Now,
'Cause you were
there
panicked.
was also a time where you had your MapQuest directions and the client in the car with you, all at one shot.
And,
Oh,
and they could see
absolutely,
how much you had messed up.
Like now you could hide. They just think you're going wherever you're going.
Right.
They don't know that.
Listen, I even put my navigation on to go home because just in case it needs to reroute traffic
right.
or whatever, it'll
Yeah.
still tell me the best route.
Yeah.
Mm.
And around everywhere, you're
Sure.
rerouting.
Sure.
Yeah, it's true.
So it's crazy.
Yeah.
But
Thank God for technology. Oh my God.
oh,
You don't even know.
Yeah.
You don't even know the pain. We're still alive to
That
tell
was-
about it, but barely.
Great. So, what's your favorite town besides Clifton? Because you're the Clifton queen, the queen of Clifton. What other towns do you work in?
so many towns. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I've
Maybe
sold-
counties? Maybe some counties that you focus
Well,
on?
Bergen County. Bergen County, I like to work in, actually. I was born and raised in Bergen County,
Mm.
so I know it pretty well. I hate Pennsauken. I don't even know what Camden County, I think.
Yeah, it's far from
That
here.
is
Yeah.
so far. I shouldn't say I hated they had cute houses, but
It's just a long drive.
it's a
From here.
long, tedious drive. But I've sold houses up in Vernon and way up in West Milford. Those drives never really bothered me that much. But that ride to Pennsauken, I spoke to Dawn once all the way home because I was going to go to sleep. It is the most boring ride on that turnpike to 4.
So Dawn's your
Exit-
entertainment?
She was my
She's your
entertainment.
in-car entertainment?
Therapy, maybe?
I
Can I
thank,
invoice you for that?
listen, I know you didn't.
Maybe I
I
should.
thank God for that because there really were many times I was like, I could drive all the way to Long Beach Island, doesn't bother me.
Mm-hmm.
But that ride to Pennsauken, I hate it. And luckily I had an agent that had the buyer that really didn't know what he was doing. And he went ahead and did 3 inspections and never even let me know.
Whoa.
So I had to call and complain. I was so happy because that saved me 3
Oh, I
trips.
remember that. That was your like 2 months ago, right? 2 or 3 months ago. That was
A
recent.
couple
It was
months
more
ago.
recent,
More.
probably.
It was about a year ago, really.
Oh, really?
Wow, times
It was-
fly.
Time flies.
I
It was
remember
about a
that
year
deal.
ago.
When you're having fun.
Yep. He really did me a favor. He was a nice guy, but he had another job. He really didn't know what he was doing. But he really did me a favor because as much as I should have been there, especially for the sewer inspection,
Mm-hmm.
I really was a little angry about because I had one break once and the people went crazy.
Yeah, those aren't easy. Cause
No, they're not.
If they go wrong during an inspection, it's a lot to handle.
Yeah, he shouldn't have done any of them.
Right.
Yeah.
But in hindsight,
It was a
I-
blessing in
It was
disguise.
yes, and thank God it closed. It went fine. So it was all good. He got it done, so that's a good thing.
What's your longest transaction in real estate? Like, what's been the longest one that you can remember?
Maybe the one I'm working on right now.
Yeah. How many months?
I started working with these people in February.
Okay.
All right. It's been months now. We were supposed to close August, then September. Now, by the end of October, he wasn't answering me. The lawyer wasn't answering the attorney. It's been going on forever. It needs to close by the end of the month.
Wow.
I have had some other long ones too.
I mean, even
did.
some of the short sale days. Some of those were long transactions.
Do you know Hilton? You know Hilton Street?
That's right. Yes, I do.
That one on the corner. I think that was when we were in Wayne. I was having the appraisal, and we failed because it had chipping paint.
Oh,
No,
sure.
sure.
And they came in and they painted. There was one window they forgot. I'll never forget it as long as I live. There was nothing in the house, but there was a can of paint, and there was a lock like you have on a door. What do you a hinge?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I go, oh my God, what am I gonna do? I took the hinge. I scraped all the dead paint, peeling paint off.
Mm-hmm.
Then I had paper towels in my car.
Did you dip it?
Yes, I did.
Yes, you did.
And I went real thick
Yeah.
all over everything and then prayed. The guy didn't touch it. And we passed.
Awesome. But that's what you
One-
do, right? You take care of business.
Yeah.
You have to take care of business.
You know what we did another day? I was with one of the agents. We worked at that first agency, and I had a house. And for some reason, the people were supposed to put up the smoke detectors, and it was time for inspection. We ran to Home Depot, and we got
Velcro.
Velcro.
I knew you were going to
thank
say that.
Velcro. And we Velcroed them all up. And we passed.
That was just a lucky guess. I'm not saying I knew that from
Velcro.
experience.
We didn't know what else to do. We had like a half hour
Yeah.
to get it done.
Sure.
I'll say, you know, what's so interesting in real estate, and probably true of some other professions, but the excuse of it's not in my job description literally just doesn't exist or apply in real estate.
No.
You know,
No.
I actually, so you guys know that I mentor newer agents, and you know, I'll hear things from the newer agents, you know, oh, well, that's not my job to do that. Well, if you want it to close, it is.
Exactly. That reminds me of my very first house that I sold. I used to install fences before I got my license.
I did not know that.
Like Mark Jasinski. Remember Mark?
Yeah.
Yes.
So
God rest his soul.
God rest his soul.
we had an issue with a door. It needed a special lash. And thank God that was one of my last jobs when I was leaving the profession.
So you knew.
Exactly. So the inspector, it was in Furlong. The inspector comes in, he looks at it, he's like, that's not going to pass. I'm like, how long are you going to be here for? It's like, maybe like 20 minutes. It's like, I'm going to fix that right now. So I call one of my boys. I was like, hey, bring me the tools, bring everything. I have a picture. There's a picture in
put it
Facebook. You could see me fixing the whole thing. And I fixed it. And we passed the guy. When the guy came out, he was like, you really did change that? Are you the realtor? I'm like, yes. I'm just doing my
So
job.
if I want
I
a
wear many
fence,
hats.
a new fence installed, you're going to do it for me?
Maybe.
Wow.
If something's
If when you
broken.
sell the property, you give me the listing, I could
There you
do
go.
it for you.
Never mind.
Or if he's in town, Mr. World Traveler.
I got to find you first.
Santos is always on a plane somewhere.
Good for him.
Living to Japan in 2 weeks.
Nice. Yeah, we have to talk about that.
that's
And when you
great.
come back, we have to do a podcast on it. So,
Yes,
so you
yes.
better bring back a lot of pictures so we can show everybody.
Definitely.
How long will you be there?
16 days.
Wow, that's great.
What cities?
Tokyo, Osaka.
Did you just
Osaka.
say 60 days?
16.
Oh,
I
okay.
wish.
I was like, wait a second.
16.
That wasn't you didn't get a permission slip
I'm
signed for that.
backpacking.
Tokyo, Osaka,
Tokyo, Osaka, Hakone, and Kyoto.
Oh, nice.
Wow, that'll be great.
Yeah. Take lots of pictures.
Definitely. I'm gonna be doing a lot of street photography over
Grace,
there.
what's your favorite town in Jersey? Just out of curiosity. Anywhere, not just for selling, just towns that you think or a town that you think is nice.
You know what town I like a lot? I like Glen Ridge.
Oh,
No.
sure.
Yeah.
And I like
Very
Glen
nice town.
Ridge. That's a really nice town.
Nice homes.
Taxes are too high, but it's a really nice town.
Yeah.
You know what town I like? I've been in recently, and I never liked it that much, but I've been up and down some of the streets, and they're beautiful. Ridgewood.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
sure.
I
Oh,
love
yes.
Ridgewood.
Oh.
That's one of my favorite towns in New Jersey.
Some of those. Glen Rock I like too.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like Glen Rock.
Mm-hmm.
But Ridgewood, I've been going up and down some of those streets, looking at those houses.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
They're great.
And food, they have a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
I remember
that's
I got-
true.
I went there shopping years and years ago, and my car got towed.
Oh no.
Maybe that's when I stopped liking Ridgewood.
I mean, that could happen
That-
anywhere, really.
Yeah, it could happen. It could
I
Wow.
happen.
have to read the signs.
But Ridgewood is usually busy, so
Yeah,
sounds
it's-
like
Yeah.
it can happen. So look,
Yeah.
read the signs.
Yeah, what? Especially when you're shopping.
Yeah,
that
you
area.
lose track of time. Sure.
Yeah. So, oh well. Still went shopping.
That's great.
So that's what counted.
I'm curious what kind of advice you might have, not necessarily just for a new agent, but really any agent for that matter, of just kind of, being that you've been in the business over 2 decades, of just kind of staying the course. What keeps you motivated when it's a slower market, or what keeps you on track when it's a fast-paced market? Because, I think about it in terms of like a restaurant, right? You can have a favorite restaurant, or not favorite restaurant, whatever, but you know how if it's Saturday night, their service isn't as great as, maybe Tuesday afternoon. What would you say or what kind of advice would you give to keep it balanced?
It's hard. Like right now, I'm even having a hard time keeping things balanced. You know why? I think once you start getting, like you were saying, crazed, you have to sit back and take a deep breath and figure out what is most important and sit down first and do that. Because this morning I had so many things to do, silly things, but they had to be done. And I started getting crazed because I knew I had to be here at a certain time. And I'm going, all right. I actually made my last phone call right in the office when I got here. I said, you know what, you have to just, there's some I did not call back or things I didn't do. I'll do them later. But I think you really need to learn how to pace yourself. I can normally do that, but sometimes, especially in this market now we're having, it's a very difficult market. So, first you get upset if you don't have the business. Then all of a sudden people start calling you all at once.
Sure.
I mean, I've had just a couple of, they're never going to see this. Some of my crazies come out of the woodwork. Love them dearly, but they drive me crazy. And asking me really silly questions. But that some of them I really have to find out the answers to. And some I can, some I can't. So, I was even asking Dawn the other day about something. They're not the crazies, though. That's not what I was talking about. But the man is very black and white. He wants to know exactly
Right,
what.
dollars and cents.
Dollars and cents.
That's
and so I told him he needs to call his accountant. He doesn't have an accountant. So his daughter, I love her, she said, don't worry about him. I'll figure it out. I go, thank you. So they'll figure it out. But I just think, like I said, I always have a low. And it starts to make me really crazy. Because I go, where's my business? And a lot of my clients moved out of state. Luckily, they have friends here. They've given them my number, thank you, God.
So you gotta love referrals, because every time I talk to you, so referred somebody to me.
Well,
Everybody's so that
But that's the
that
best
definitely
part of
keeps
this.
you in the business.
Sure.
that's the hardest part, I think, for new agents.
Yeah.
Sure, because you're
Because-
starting off without that, right? And you've got to almost, it's funny when I hear a lot of people that enter the industry, they say, well, my friends and my family are going to give me business.
Yeah.
But I remind them in a gentle way. It's not to be negative or anything like that. But, your friends and family don't owe you their business. You have to earn that. Your own parent, spouse, sibling, whoever, they don't owe you their business just because they're your, related to you or they're your best friend or whatever. You have to earn that business.
Right.
So,
Yep.
You have to know what you're doing, no matter who it is.
of course.
Absolutely.
And you're right, you have to do a lot of things. I've had people say to me, well, you do too much. Do I? Probably, but you know what? That's how I keep business going.
Right.
And I said to somebody, and I did tell you this, Dawn, well, that's why I have business and you don't have any.
Yeah.
And that was true.
Well, that's the mindset of a true business owner, though. And that's what I think a lot of people forget when they're actually in this business. They don't think about it. And I think, would you agree with me? A large majority of realtors don't think of themselves as business owners.
Right.
Right.
They say, my boss. You don't have a boss.
Right.
don't
And
have a
they
boss,
try
right.
to, it's interesting. I said this one time and it wasn't well taken too much, but I think it's really the truth. It's like when you go to college, right? The tuition is paid. They don't care if you don't show up, right? Well, I don't want to say that people don't care here, right? If we haven't seen somebody in a while, we're checking in on them and the whole bit. But, if you don't make your calls today or if you're not, doing what you're supposed to be doing, nobody's going to put you in timeout or anything like that, right?
You're only hurting yourself if you don't
Right, of course.
Yeah.
And we operate more of a family style here. And so, yeah, people check up on each other and the whole thing. But, nobody's asking if you did your homework today, right? That just doesn't happen. So when you say, somebody said you do too much, well, it's probably true, right? But that's what keeps your business going.
Right.
A lot of times you have to do it. My little condo over in North Arlington, just a couple months ago, the outside of that condo was a sump pump. It didn't work. The place was just completely renovated, and it was under contract. Matter of fact, I had the town coming that day for the CO, which we did pass. He walked through the water. I had to go buy a mop because the guy that owned it lived in Long Island. 3 hours. And I didn't know how to use the mop. It was one of those
spin.
Sure.
big white ones.
Sure.
I said,
And you have to, yeah.
I go, this looks like it'll soak up a lot
We
of
need
water.
pictures of that. Otherwise, it didn't happen.
But it's one of those mops you need to take a class to learn how to use.
I didn't know you needed a machine.
Yeah.
So I took it outside, and I had to throw my shoes away.
You had to hand wring it.
Oh,
no,
my goodness.
you couldn't.
Oh, no,
it's one
because
of
you
those
have to
other
put
ones.
it
'Cause you
in
need
and
the
stuff on.
machine.
Yeah.
Machine.
It was
yes.
too thick. You couldn't
Oh, boy.
hand wring it. I kept stepping on it to get the water out. Go
Wow.
back. Why do you think it took 3 hours?
Yeah, listen, that's part of the job, right? To
I saved
go
the floor.
beyond, you see. Sometimes you have to do that little bit extra, right? That's what we say. That
Go the
you have to
extra
go the
mile,
extra
whatever
mile.
it
You have to.
takes.
Yeah,
You know what? It really does get you more business.
it does. Listen, people like to know that you care. That you're actually putting some thought into what you're doing, and you obviously do. I always like to get to this part of the segment of our program by asking these quick fire questions, right? Just whatever comes to mind. Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts? What do you?
Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that.
I hate Starbucks.
America runs on Dunkin'.
Yeah, America runs on Dunkin'. A little plug for Dunkin' Donuts, in case you guys want to sponsor us.
They should send us a
Yes.
little check.
Yeah, right.
We need the money.
Yes.
Times
Show
are
me the
slow.
money.
They'll do it for free coffee for a year.
Yeah, free
Coffee's
coffee for a
good.
year. There you go.
Or 10.
Lunch in the car or a restaurant?
Restaurant.
Do you even eat lunch?
I do sometimes.
If she eats lunch. Okay.
No, I.
But you're a realtor. And the
But
day in the
I don't
day in the
do
life
fast
of a
food.
Yeah, you don't
so
do
I'm
fast
not going to
food.
be
Yeah.
in the car.
How about favorite? I already asked you favorite town earlier. You said Ridgewood or Glen Ridge, right? How about favorite vacation spot?
Do you know where I love Puerto Rico? I
Yeah.
love Puerto Rico.
Nice. How about well, let's ask you. I'm going to backtrack a little bit. Let me ask you favorite town to dine in. Is it also Ridgewood?
No, I don't think so. I think. This is an interesting one because I don't go out to eat that much. But believe it or not, the last time I went out to eat, which was 2 weeks ago with Barbara, we went to Tuscany, and I know it sounds silly, but it was really so good.
Good.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is
Yeah.
good. I like
I
that
like
place.
that place too.
It was so good.
Sure.
I would definitely go back again.
Shout out to Tuscany.
Free pizza.
Yeah, there you go. Where can towards the end of the program, we always like to ask, where can people reach you at? Are you on Facebook? Are you on Instagram? Both?
I'm on both of those.
How about your phone number? You want to tell everybody out there your phone number?
Yes, 201-924-1720.
Awesome.
And if I don't answer, I will definitely call you back.
I know you will. You're always
About
good
your
that.
Instagram.
Do you know your handle? Instagram
I
handle?
don't.
Look her up, Grace Iosco.
Grace Iosco. You'll be able to find her.
Yeah.
That's
she's been
great.
around long enough. If not, you can always see her at what is that? You see your face at Stop and Shop all the time.
Yeah.
Grace, do you have a favorite real estate app or anything like that you use all the time in real estate? besides the MLS.
Yeah.
You know, I really mostly use the MLS. I unfortunately have to use Zillow for a lot of things, but I don't like Zillow. I don't like Zillow because I don't think they're accurate. The reason I go to it is because people go to it.
Right.
But it's great that they're not accurate because then we can kind of
They have
Well,
to
go
rely
go
on
and give
us.
them
Yeah.
all the information they need.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
But they all go there.
Sure.
You know, they want to see what their house is worth.
Mm-hmm.
It's
But-
user friendly. You can't deny that.
But people
Right.
don't realize when this house is $600,000, the next one's 600, 600, but this one's falling apart. Still 600.
Yeah.
Sure.
No.
It's not. It doesn't work that way.
But luckily, that means that we're not so easily replaceable, right? You still
Right.
need that kind of human touch. Somebody go in, kind of
Uh,
assess.
Still need an expert.
Right.
Listen, I absolutely
You still need
believe-
grace, people.
Yes, you need it. I absolutely believe you need a real estate agent
Yes.
Of course.
because it's not easy. People think they could just put a for sale sign up and they're going to sell their house.
Right.
They'll get people, but it'll fall apart, and then they'll call me.
And they never get.
Where you-
Sure.
where
They
you-
they never get the value that they should, as if they had gotten. You know, when you use a realtor, you know, it's a proven thing for anybody that wants to look this up. You get more money using a realtor than you do for sale by owner.
Absolutely.
100% of the
Even
time.
the CEO of ForSaleByOwner.com listed his home with a realtor.
That's right.
He was smart.
All right, everybody. We are very happy that Grace stopped by.
Thank you for
so
having
much.
Thank you so
me.
much for
Thank
your
you
time,
so
Grace.
much, Grace.
Thank you.
It's always a pleasure chatting with you.
Yes.
You guys too.
This is Realtors Radio Network signing off.
Keep an ear out for the next episode of the Realtors Radio Network, where Santos Garcia, Marcos Suarez, and Dawn McCullough share their wealth of real estate knowledge. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Make sure to like, rate, review, and share. Find us on social media at Realtors Radio Network. See you next time on the Realtors Radio Network.